Hi there, back for another video. Haha! This is a set of Hammond Astra louvers. If you have one of these, you'll see the kind of like Astra badge here. It's a real funky one. Unless it isn't Astra and it's a different tier. Or yeah, I think tier is probably the right word. Different tier of louvers. But you can see real faintly by Hammond manufacturing. But there's a S or an A and then like a P and an R or P and another P. It's really hard to tell and doesn't help that the graphics have gone. But it should be they're for sure Hammond louvers and probably Hammond Astras specifically. And these are the metal type. So these are an aluminum all the way through and through. And supposedly there were plastic ones, and the couple photos of plastic ones I've seen, they look like this set. Now this set I've had for a few years now. I have no clue who made them, but I've seen them in the Ford dealer add-on catalog, so they're probably not genuine Ford, being there's no Ford part number on them. But these are completely plastic. Plastic with just some simple metal retaining hardware. Supposedly those are also Hammond louvers, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe those are, for instance, Hammond Astras, while these are Hammond APPs or something like that. I don't know. You're going to have to help me out if you do know. And then as I find out, I'll edit that info in the description. But these guys are fully aluminum, like I said. They're pretty sharp and sleek. So they look pretty neat. For some reason, they're kind of cut out along the top here. I haven't been able to figure that out, but they were born that way. Again, I don't know why. It's almost like, oh, I think I do know why. Now here's the problem here. I don't have the original mounting hardware for this, so I will have to fabricate some on my own. But being I don't have the mounting hardware, I want to bet these top ones are hinges. Most of these are on hinges so that you can lift it up and then you can clean the glass underneath the louver sets. So let's fold that up here. You can see the cutout kind of allows it to prop up without contacting the glass or the trim. But again, I don't have said hardware, because maybe this sits up a bunch so that when you open it, it kind of comes forward too. In that case, that would definitely help clear the body metal or the metal trim of the car. Now these are very similar to the shadow louvers. The shadow louvers look almost identical. Almost identical. The difference is that the shadow ones, they have built-in prop rods here. So when you flip this up, you can kind of drop down this prop rod and it'll hold it up so you can clean your window or back up your car into a dark garage, whatever you're needing. And the hardware for those is pretty similar to these. Or at least the hardware demands. What it needs to do is very similar to this. It's got some sort of hinge up top, and then down here it's got a kind of locking feature. This one's got a quick release kind of thing going on. And then you can flip it up, deploy your pop rods, undo them, set them back down, and away you go. They look almost identical. I do have a video on those. I'll put that link in the description. You'll see they're different. And if once I get them back in my hands, I got them elsewhere right now. We might even do a comparison video between the two. I'd love to do one between all my louver sets, because like for some reason here, this car had louvers, but where are they? They're long gone. You know, the owner doesn't know where they ended up. He doesn't really even recall what kind of like type of style it had. So there's a bunch of mystery, and what stinks is none of the catalogs from the 80s, back when these were made, remain today. So we can't really find out anything about these guys. It's hard, so we have no idea how many different ones are out there. We don't know what there are for variations between some of these. That's why, as I come across all of them, each and every single one gets a specific video on them. But it's kind of all I wanted to bring up. For those who never use louvers, they are spectacular. They're not purely cosmetic. They have a lot of good function to them too. Because as you imagine, they prevent a lot of the sun from getting inside the car. Let's pull this seat forward some, so you can see what I mean. Because it's a bright sunny morning. The sun is just risen, and in here, it's not too bad. You know, you can see out the back window without it being blinding. Versus this car, we look out the back window and it's, well, aside from the glass being freaking filthy as can be, it's oh, here we go. We got a better example. A car that had louvers and no longer does. It's really bright. Really bright in here. Yeah. So that does a couple things. One, it keeps your temperature of your car down, and when you park it out in a parking lot, say you've gone to work and it's been sitting outside all day, or you had to run some grocery errands, you come back, your car won't be burning on freaking fire. But at the same time, I should leave that open. They allow for great visibility. When you're backing up, you can see right out of them in your rearview mirror quite clearly. As opposed to, say, tinted back windows. I mean, the tint is even better at keeping the sun out when you go dark enough. Like this is dang near black. And now it does keep a lot of light out. But that's the problem. It keeps a lot of light out. You can't see anything out this back window through your rear view mirror. I'll get my camera out of here. You can't see really freaking anything out there. What cars are those behind us? Tell me what cars those are, huh? Now I have all my cars here, and I should remember what they are behind us. One, it looks like my 81 Escort, maybe. That's what I think should be parked there, and then behind that is an 85 red EXP. But it's really hard to tell. That's the problem I have with this guy. Same with tinted windows. I can barely tell what's inside my mirrors, especially at night. Oh, hey, there we go. 81 Escorts and our 85 EXP. Good. So you can actually have some great visibility out of these things. And then there's a few other points. In theory, they could help improve fuel economy, but in all reality, you'd be talking like half a mile, half of a tenth. So it could be improving your miles per gallon by 0.05 or less, maybe a tad more, but putting that on is not going to add you a tenth. The downside is they add a little bit of weight. Good news is this is only like 2 or 3 pounds. That's not going to affect your fuel economy. But they're quite practical. They really look cool. And they don't have too many downsides apart from every so often you got to flip this up and clean underneath it. Otherwise it'll get plenty dusty and dirty on the glass underneath those slits. But as long as you take a hose to it once in a while and it keeps washing it out, or if you can drive through a storm now and then, you'll keep it pretty clean. So I'll show you my more daily driver. It wears louvers every day, every year. You can see it's that clean inside. Quite clean. It's cleaner than the outside. This guy needs a bath bad. So it's pretty low maintenance, but it'd be smart if you could do some maintenance, keep things nice. But yeah, that's probably all I wanted to share with you about those Hammonds. If you run across them for less than 200 or less than 150, that'd be a good price. These are usually all over the markets, and they're rare. They're hard to come by, no matter what louvers you're looking at, and they're always 50 to about 300 bucks, depending on the set you're looking at. So if you can score these for 150 or less, I think you're doing good, even if you have to source your own hardware, or fabricate your own. And that's what we'll have to end up doing for this. So if we get to that point, we'll end up making a video on how to replicate the hardware for these louvers, because that happens pretty frequently. People take them off, they sell the car, decades later they find the louver set in the back of their shed or something, but alas, the hardware went with the car. Like that red one over there, the hardware stayed on the car, so now the louver set is lost in perpetuity. Or the EXP is. One of the two, it doesn't really matter. The point is, you're missing half of the hole. But as long as you got this, you can do anything. Sky's the limit. Because if you want, you could just double stick tape this down. That's not ideal, but it will actually hold it down just fine. But proper hardware would be better, so that you could lift this off and clean it thoroughly as needed. But I think I've rambled enough for now. There will be more louver videos. I actually have a playlist full of them. You'll see that in the description. A link to the playlist where you can see all of them side by side, and that's pretty cool. You see how they operate. So if you're looking at a couple on eBay or Facebook or on a used car, you can kind of decide which one you prefer on your car and go from there. So I'll let you to it. Thanks, guys.